Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 funny pictures of rich people problems. So most of us in life have a lot of problems. This could be stuff in your relationship, school, work, or maybe not even being able to pay rent. Now, don't get me wrong, rich people also have problems, only different problems. These are the least relatable problems in the world, but they sure are funny. If you guys think you know someone rich, then check these guys out, because they're on another level. But first, why not solve a problem by subscribing and pressing the notification bell too? Coming in at number 10, we have MacBook Brella. So one problem we can all relate to is rain. Nobody likes to get rained on and get all wet. But let me ask you a question, would you spend $2,000 to avoid getting wet? You're probably saying, obviously not, but the answer's not so obvious for everyone. One day somebody caught a very rich person problem on Snapchat. This girl, who seems like she goes to a fancy private school, didn't want to get wet in the rain. However, she didn't have an umbrella. What she did have though was a MacBook Pro. Everyone knows MacBook Pros are crazily overpriced, as they're around $2,000. I should know, as I regrettably have one myself. Some people spend $2,000 on a car, but this girl simply used her MacBook Pro to keep her out of the rain. As the caption says, no umbrella, get out the MacBook Pro. It's pretty crazy that someone's got so much money they can just throw away a MacBook like that. Everyone knows when it comes to water damage, MacBooks are not good. But I guess when you got a bunch of money, a $2,000 laptop is a small price to pay for not getting soaking wet. Next up is champagne. So champagne is most definitely seen as a rich person's drink. Don't get me wrong, it is expensive, but on special occasions normal people do also drink it. But there's a difference between champagne and giant champagne. One day after a party, this guy was trying to get rid of his giant bottle of champagne, but he ran into a rich people problem. He realized his champagne didn't fit into his condo's recycling bins. So instead he had to leave it outside the bin to show how rich he really is. All of his neighbors are now going to be wondering who's the rich guy in the building. Now you may be wondering, how much does one of these bottles really set you back? Well, you better sit down for this, because just one of these giant bottles cost $1,750. You could buy a MacBook umbrella for that kind of money. Next up is cramped copter. So how do you get around? Chances are it's in a car, or perhaps if you're low on money, the bus. Either way, it's usually pretty cramped. And a regular car or a bus are not exactly what you call luxury. Well, one day somebody was getting around in a helicopter. That's right, just like Christian Grey, this guy commutes in a helicopter. However, as he was in his helicopter, he ran into a rich person problem. He took a picture and began complaining that his legs were all cramped up in his helicopter. I'm sorry, but if you own a helicopter, I have no sympathy. This guy needs to save up some more money to buy a private jet. Then he wouldn't have any rich people problems. Next up is placemat. So, do any of you guys use a placemat? A lot of people see just using a placemat as pretty fancy. I mean, most of us probably just put our plates on the table. Well, one day somebody went to find a placemat for their food, but they couldn't find one. So that was when they had a rich person idea. Instead of being a caveman and not using a placemat, they used their iPad. Now, at least an iPad is a few $100 less than a MacBook. But even so, can you imagine eating off an iPad? There's just so much scope for things to go wrong. You could spill food and drink all over it and get it dangerously hot. But I guess when you have millions of dollars, you simply don't care. I have to say, this is one of the craziest rich people problems I've ever seen. Next up is choices. Did you know the average person makes 200 choices every day? But most people's choices are things like what coffee to buy, or perhaps what outfit to put on. But when you're super rich, you have different choices. For example, one person was seen on Twitter complaining about what car to choose for the day. They said the decision of choosing a car in the morning is awful. I see what they mean, seeing as every car here is very nice. They literally have a line of Ferraris, Porsches, and Mustangs. And as you can see here, this person has 4 Mustangs and they couldn't figure out which car to drive either. Let me know if you guys have ever had a crazy problem like this. Another guy posted on Snapchat saying, which one? First world problems. One thing's for sure, it seems rich people really do love red cars. Coming up next is iCards. So, do you ever get bored at work or school? I'm sure we've all been there, but how do you fix your boredom? One thing that many people do is play cards. Anyone can play cards no matter how broke you are, as it simply requires a pack of cards. But when you get rich people bored, they do things slightly differently. As you can see, this office of very rich people was seen playing cards with iPads. They got an image of each card on their iPads and then played like this. Somebody needs to go fish, another iPad from that iPad pile. Can you guys imagine anything as ridiculous as this? I just imagined this is what it's like at Apple HQ. But by the looks of it, these guys don't work for Apple. Instead, they're likely just very rich businessmen who love playing iPad cards. I know you can play Monopoly and Heads Up on the iPad now, but cards? Next up is Diamond Sharp. So we all know that diamonds are one of the sharpest materials in the world. That is why diamond drills are used for things like drilling into metal. But another thing that diamonds are a girl's best friend. Nobody knows that better than one very rich dentist. We all know that dentists make a ton of money. So one day a female dentist proved it with a big diamond ring. Of course, this probably set her back thousands of dollars. But if you've ever had to pay a dentist bill, you'll know that's not exactly a hardship for her. Now, as nice as her expensive diamond ring was, it started causing her some rich people problems. Specifically, rich dentist problems. Every time she tried to put on those blue dentist gloves, the diamond would simply rip the gloves. I just hope this ring doesn't break off during surgery, otherwise somebody may be getting an accidental grill. Next up is Cardi B. So when it comes to modern musicians, Cardi B is at the top of her game right now. But in case you guys have been living under a rock, Cardi B is a female rapper with a net worth of $40 million. Now, we all know that rappers usually have a lot of problems in their early life. But you may assume that once they're rich and famous, these problems go away. But instead, they just get rich people problems. Take Cardi B for example. Like any responsible rapper, she decided to get an iced out watch. These watches can go from anywhere to $50 to $1 million. However, when she went to buy an iced out watch, she ran into a problem. She simply couldn't decide which watch to get for her birthday. She was stuck between 6 different watches which all cost a ton of money. As you can see, she shared this photo looking very annoyed. Sorry Cardi, but I don't have that much sympathy.
It feels like Bentley Chuck, yeah, that's my choice, alright.
Next up is Tall Guy, Short Car. So we've already had a few rich people car problems on this list. From not being able to decide which Ferrari to take to not being able to decide which Mustang to take. But in this case, the rich person problem involves a Lamborghini Aventador. We all know that Lamborghini Aventadors is what every rich person has. They cost around $450,000. Just imagine spending $500,000 on a car. And every star and millionaire seems to have one, from Justin Bieber to Nicki Minaj. The only problem with a Lamborghini Aventador is it's very short. This means if you're a very tall guy, then you'll run into a few problems. As you can see in this image, the window meets this guy at eye level. This means the guy has to peer over his window to drive his car. He should really wear some goggles, you wouldn't want to get a fly flying into your eye. You may be saying that'll make him look ridiculous, but he doesn't exactly look normal peering over his car. I feel bad for this guy as he won't be able to drive this when it's not sunny. If this guy put the roof up on his car, then his head's about to get squashed. I have to say, this is one very funny rich person problem. But if you can drop $450,000 in a car, chances are he's got some others. Next up is Ferrari Mirror. So here is one more car problem. One day a guy was driving his Ferrari at night. It's a red Ferrari too, so I wonder if it's the guy from before. But anyway, as this guy was parked at a stoplight, an SUV pulled up behind him. He then took this Snapchat saying the headlights of the SVU behind me hurt my eyes while I'm in my Ferrari. As you can see, this is a very clear rich person problem. The only reason it reflects is because Ferraris are so low. But anyway, can you guys relate to any of these problems? My bicycle doesn't even have rear view mirrors, so I can't relate. But if any of you guys can, let me know in the comments. And also, can you lend me $100? Next up is One Direction 2 problems. So when it comes to modern music stars, One Direction are huge. While they have now broken up, they've all launched very successful solo careers. But back when they were still all together, Zayn Malik revealed a rich person problem in an interview. He said to the interviewer, "My mum wouldn't let me spray paint her walls, so instead I bought my own house." Now that may sound drastic to us, but Zayn is worth $65 million. To be honest, I don't blame his mum, as I wouldn't want my kid to be spray painting the walls. But as I said, this one includes 2 problems. That's right, another One Direction member had a rich person problem. However, this time it's Niall. One day he was asked about getting a new car. The interviewer assumed he must have sold his old car, but that was when Niall said he actually didn't sell his old car. Instead, he simply forgot where he parked it. That's right, this guy's so rich he can't even be bothered to look for his car. Instead, it's easier for him to just buy a new one. And with a net worth of $50 million, I can see why. Then again, even if I did have a net worth of $50 million, I still wouldn't ditch my car. Check out the poll in the top right corner to vote for the dumbest rich person problem. I think it's gotta be the helicopter one, because how can you complain about riding in a helicopter? But if this list proves anything, it's that rich people can complain about being rich. As Jim Carrey once said, I hope everyone can get rich and famous and have everything they've ever wanted, so they'll know it's not the answer. If you want more amazing videos, then check out my second channel. There'll be a link to that on screen in a moment. And I'm even gonna play a sample from that channel on screen right now. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.